Hello, my name is Abigail and welcome back to Polyglot Progress. Today is November 3rd, 2021, which means this is the start of my November recap video. September and October were not the best months for my language learning. They were by no means bad months. I wasn't feeling down about my language progress. I wasn't struggling with things so much, but neither of them really saw much language learning happening, and I didn't really accomplish many of my goals or feel really good about my progress or anything like that either. So hopefully this month goes a little bit better. We are moving into the kind of holiday season, end of year time that is a lot more chaotic and just in general tends to see a lot less language learning for me, but I'm hoping to do a bit this month. Because I am trying to study like Elise, I am only going to be focusing on Bulgarian for the next little less than 2 weeks now. I'm not going to go super in depth to the methods that I'm using right now in this video because I did make a whole video on the process of learning like Elise, but I will say that I'm enjoying that, and I am enjoying that one of the aspects of this is not necessarily studying every day. I feel like that is going to be such a blessing in these chaotic times. For some reason, Total Drama Island, dubbed in Bulgarian, is one of the few programs available on the US Netflix that is available in Bulgarian. I am so glad that I did that. I definitely need to incorporate more things like this into my Bulgarian learning specifically. What really originally got me interested in Bulgarian and made me fall in love with the language was the sound of it. And so while I of course think it's important for me to learn vocabulary, learn grammar, focus on my speaking skills, work on being able to write, I think I don't do enough of the thing that made me fall in love with the language and don't connect with that thing that made me want to learn Bulgarian so badly. And I think even when I do watch things or listen to things in Bulgarian, I get too caught up in trying to understand everything. But I think for Bulgarian, because I just like the way that it sounds when I don't even understand what's happening, I need to just focus on that and let it be something like what just happened to me, where I watched 20 minutes of a TV show and just got to either understand things and feel excited that I understood what was happening, or could just feel really interested in the way that it sounded and really enjoy listening to it and really feel more motivation to continue to learn things. So I definitely think this is something that I'm going to keep around. So busy. I was really expecting the 2 weeks that I planned to spend learning like Elise being pretty light weeks for me overall. I was actually thinking that following Elise's study routine, which meant basically an hour some days, not every single day, was going to be a little frustrating because I was expecting to have all this extra time and I thought it was going to feel like I was kind of not getting to make the most out of that. But I figured I would just take it as a time to focus on some of my other things, focus on writing, etc. As it turned out, I didn't need to be worried at all. I ended up having the busiest past 2.5, 3 weeks. I don't think I even posted a single video in the month of November. I have been just so chaotically busy. And like most unexpectedly busy times, it has not been a fun busyness. So when I do have little bits of free time, I've been feeling very just burnt out and tired. But this past week, I have had a little bit more time, and more so, I just kind of forced language learning into it a little bit more. On Monday morning and Thursday night, I took hour-long German lessons. On Wednesday night, I had a Spanish lesson. On Friday morning, I had a Bulgarian lesson. And then Friday evening, I watched an episode of a reality TV show with my friend in French. So I've had quite a bit of exposure to my target languages, which is really exciting. This weekend is also the 1-year anniversary of immersion. I haven't actually gotten to participate yet. I always want to, and then it always ends up just colliding with one of these very busy times in my life. And I sort of escaped that this time, but not entirely. So I haven't been doing a ton. It hasn't been a weekend that I truly just set aside for this challenge. But I'm participating as much as I can to have a little Spanish immersion weekend. Basically, I've just been replacing any of the time that I do spend reading, watching, playing, listening to things with doing that in Spanish. So it really hasn't been much. I think yesterday I did maybe an hour and a half worth of things, but quite literally that was the only hour and a half of the day that I wasn't working on other stuff. I am following the bingo sheet. Here's where I'm at after yesterday. Today, I have no idea what I'm going to do. It's honestly evening already and I have plans tonight, but I really would like to do some more of these. I'm not necessarily trying to accomplish bingo here. I just want to kind of use these bingo squares as some inspiration for small activities that I can do. This upcoming week, I am really hoping to rebuild my Bulgarian study habit. So the goal that I am setting myself is I want to finish the A2 textbook that I'm working on. I'm maybe 3/4 of the way through it, half at the very least. I think it would be nice to accomplish that goal, get that Q4 goal completely done, and that will also be a good little motivation to give a really good push this week with trying to study every day. Finished a Spanish lesson and I was rolling my R's, kind of, almost, maybe. It's definitely still far from sounding great, and the rest of my Spanish pronunciation often leaves something to be desired, but I've been working on it this year and I felt like I was not even thinking about it during this lesson, and yet it was sounding closer to how I want it to. So that's an exciting thing. I was also listening to a podcast while I took a shower earlier in Spanish, and I just had one of those moments where I was like, I didn't know this language before, and I'm just listening to this podcast and not even thinking about it, and it just makes sense to me. It's just been a time where I've been reflecting on how cool it is that at one point I didn't know how to speak any languages, and then I only spoke English for most of my life, and now I'm able to do so many things in other languages. I can read books, I can watch TV shows, I can listen to podcasts, and I can talk to people. Sometimes it's hard, sure, but I still feel as hard as Spanish speaking is for me, and as many mistakes as I know I still make in German, I can express myself the way that I want to within reason. So yeah, it's just been one of those times where it's set in that it's cool that I know even little bits and pieces of other languages, even Bulgarian, where I can't do very much. It's pretty cool that I know anything in Bulgarian. Also, another cool thing, I finished my A2 textbook yesterday. I was quite a bit further along than I thought in it, so I really didn't need to dedicate this whole week to it. I completed it in basically a day. I also opened up Bulgarian Pod 101 and started the level 3 course, which says that it's at like the B1 level for the CEFR. I started to feel like I never was going to get my Bulgarian past an A1 level, honestly. And I still don't really think that I'm ready for B1 material, but I listened to the first lesson and I was able to follow most of it, which again is just very exciting. The frustration I was feeling at this time last year with Bulgarian is just totally gone. I really love studying Bulgarian every single day, which if you watched last year's vlogs from around this time, you'd know that I was kind of really struggling to study ever. I was just feeling frustrated every time I sat down. And now that's not the case at all. I'm finding it not easy, of course, but it feels like studying any other language I've studied now. And then I'm really working on that goal that I set of finishing out everything on my Goodreads currently reading list. I'm at 6 books right now. I hope maybe this weekend I can finish that poetry book and maybe get a bit further or finish the Percy Jackson book, maybe get a bit further in the other German book that I'm reading or in one of the French books that I'm reading. Overall, why am I reading 6 books right now? Done, which means this is the end of the last vlog that I will be posting this year. I will be vlogging December, but it's gonna go up in January, so this is it for the monthly recaps for 2021. Overall, I had a very busy month, and completely honestly, I'm feeling really burnt out right now. My cat's decided to be held like a baby right now. He loves to be held like a baby, and I guess right now is a time where he wants that. So despite all of that busyness, I really did get some good things done. I did learn like Elise for 2 weeks. I had a lot of fun doing that. I really enjoyed a lot of the activities. As I've said before, I will link to that video in the description. Since that was 2 weeks out of my month, it did end up taking up quite a bit of this vlog. So if you're interested more in my thoughts on that, you can go ahead and watch that. And even outside of that, even though I was very busy, I did get some of my goals accomplished. I knew going into this quarter I wasn't going to be able to do much, but I was hoping that I could kind of wrap up some of my overall year goals, so I'm glad that I did do a little bit towards that this month. I finished my A2 textbook, which was one of my goals for Bulgarian, and I made quite a bit of progress in Intensive Bulgarian 1 as well. So definitely in December, I'm hoping to reestablish my Bulgarian habit as much as I can. I know that December is going to be pretty chaotic as well, with Christmas, with going to visit my family, just continuing this end of year chaos that's happening with work and with Polyglot progress. But as much as I can, I would like to reestablish that. I also had 2 German lessons that went really, really well, and 2 Spanish lessons that went really, really well this month. And I'm really glad about that because it had been about a month and a half since I had been able to meet with a German or a Spanish tutor. So I was feeling like I hadn't really gotten to have some speaking practice in a little while, so it was nice to go back to that and also to see that I was still able to just slide right back into that pretty easily. Overall, I'm not super hopeful about the amount of time I'll have in December to do language stuff, but I'm really starting to put together my goals for next year and I'm really excited about it. So hopefully I can end this year on a really strong note, so that way I can just start 2022 with the ball kind of already rolling and really be able to do a lot towards the things that I want to do next year. As always, I would love to know how your November went and what your plans for December are. I will see you next Wednesday, and remember, practice makes progress.